Yo, Kichijo, Durani. Nomo Samanda, Motuna, no Harachi, Protosha, Sononan, Toji, Toen, Yaki, Yaki, Unun, Shifura, Shifura, Hara Shifura, Hara Shifura, Chishusa, Chishusa, Chishuri, Chishuri, Sohaja, Sohaja, Senji, Ya, Shirie, Somoko, Nomo, Samanda, Motona, Noharachi, Protosha, Sononan, Toji, Toen, Yaki, Yaki, Unun, Shifura, Shifura, Hara Shifura, Hara Shifura, Chishusa, Chishusa, Chishuri, Chishuri, Sohaja, Sohaja, Senji, Ya, Shirie, Somoko, Nomo, Samanda, Motona, Noharachi, Kotosha, Sononan, Toji, Toen, Yaki, Yaki, Unun, Shifura, Shifura, Hara Shifura, Hara Shifura, Chishusa, Chishusa, Chishuri, Chishuri, Sohaja, Sohaja, Senji, Ya, Shirie, Somoko, Nomo, Samanda, Motona, Noharachi, Kotosha, Sononan, Toji, Toen, Yaki, Unun, Shifura, Shifura, Hara Shifura, Hara Shifura, Chishusa, Chishusa, Chishuri, Chishuri, Sohaja, Sohaja, Senji, Ya, Shirie, Somoko, Nomo, Samanda, Motona, Noharachi, Kotosha, Sononan, Toji, Toen, Yaki, Unun, Shifura, Shifura, Hara Shifura, Hara Shifura, Chishusa, Chishusa, Chishuri, Chishuri, Sohaja, Sohaja, Senji, Ya, Shirie, Somoko, Nomo, Sa. sononan koji toen gyaki un shikura hara shikura chishusa chishuri sohaja senji ga shirie somoko no mo samanda motona no arachi kotosha sononan koji toen gyaki un shikura hara shikura chishusa chishuri sohaja senji ga shirie somoko.
Page 12. Verses on the faith mind.
The way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. When love and hate are both absent, everything becomes clear and undisguised. Make the smallest distinction, however, and heaven and earth are set infinitely apart. If you wish to see the truth, then hold no opinions for or against anything. To set up what you like against what you dislike is the disease of the mind. When the deep meaning of things is not understood, the mind's essential peace is disturbed to no avail. The way is perfect like vast space where nothing is lacking and nothing is in excess. Indeed, it is due to our choosing to accept or reject that we do not see the true nature of things, neither in the entanglements of outer things nor in the inner feelings of emptiness. Be serene in the oneness of things, and such erroneous views will disappear by themselves. When you try to stop activity to achieve passivity, your very effort fills you with activity. As long as you remain in one extreme or the other, you will never know oneness. Those who do not live in the single way fail in both activity and passivity, assertion and denial. To deny the reality of things is to miss their reality. To assert the emptiness of things is to miss their reality. The more you talk and think about it, the further astray you wander from the truth. Stop talking and thinking, and there is nothing you will not be able to know. To return to the root is to find the meaning, but to pursue appearances is to miss the source. At the moment of inner enlightenment, there is a going beyond appearance and emptiness. The changes that appear to occur in the empty world we call real only because of our ignorance. Do not search for the truth, only cease to cherish opinions. Do not remain in the dualistic state. Avoid such pursuits carefully. If there is even a trace of this and that, of right and wrong, the blindness is fully lost in confusion. Although all dualities come from the one, do not be attached even to this one. When the mind exists undisturbed in the way, nothing in the world can offend, and when a thing can no longer offend, it ceases to exist in the old way. When no discriminating thoughts arise, the old mind ceases to exist. When God objects vanish, the thing subject vanishes, as when the mind vanishes, objects vanish. Things are objects because of the subject. The mind is such because of things. Understand the relativity of these two and the basic reality. The unity of emptiness. In this emptiness, the two are indistinguishable, and each contains in itself the whole world. If you do not discriminate between coarse and fine, you will not be tempted to prejudice and opinion. To live in the great way is neither easy nor difficult, but those with limited views are fearful and irresolute. The faster they hurry, the slower they go, and a train cannot be limited. Even to be attached to the idea of enlightenment is to go astray. Just let things be in their own way, and there will be neither coming nor going. Obey the nature of things, and you will walk freely and undisturbed. When thought is in bondage, the truth is hidden. For everything is murky and unclear, and the burdensome practice of judging brings annoyance and weariness. What benefit can be derived from distinctions and separations? If you wish to move in the one way, do not dislike even the world of senses and ideas. Indeed, to accept them fully is identical with true enlightenment. The wise strive toward no goals, but the foolish better themselves. There is one Dharma, not many. Distinctions arise from the clinging needs of the ignorant. To seek mind with the mind is the greatest of all mistakes. Rest and unrest derive from illusion. With enlightenment there is no liking and disliking. All dualities come from ignorant inference. They are like dreams or flowers in air. Foolish to try to grasp them, gain and loss, right and wrong. Such thoughts must finally be abolished at once. If the eye never sleeps, all dreams will naturally cease. If the mind makes no discriminations, the 10,000 things are as they are, a single essence. To understand the mystery of the one essence is to be released from all entanglements. When all things are seen equally, the timeless self-essence is reached. No comparisons or analogies are possible in this causeless, relationless state. Consider movement stationary and the stationary in motion. Both movement and rest disappear. With such dualities cease to exist. Oneness itself cannot exist. To this ultimate finality, no law or description applies. A unified mind in accord with the way, all self-centered striving ceases. Doubts and illusion vanish, and life and true faith is possible. With a single stroke, we are free from bondage. Nothing clings to us, and we hold to nothing. All is empty, clear, self-illuminating, with no exertion of the mind's power. Here, thought, feeling, knowledge, and imagination are all embodied. In this world of suchness, there is neither self nor other than self. To come directly into harmony with this reality, just simply say when doubt arises, not to. In this not to, nothing is separate, nothing is excluded. No matter when or where enlightenment means entering this truth, and this truth is beyond extension or delineation of time or space. It is a single thought is 10,000 years, emptiness here, emptiness there, of the infinite universe stands always before your eyes, infinitely large and infinitely small. No difference or definitions have vanished, and no boundaries are seen. So too with me and non-me. Don't waste time in doubts and arguments that have nothing to do with this. One thing, all things move along and intermingle without distinction. To live in this realization is to be without anxiety about non-perfection. To live in this faith is the road to non-duality, because the non-dual is one with the trusting mind. Words to ways beyond language, for in it there is no yesterday, no tomorrow, no today.
May all awakened ones extend their luminous mirror wisdom through the three treasures. May great compassion mind penetrate deeply to all beings of the triple world and the 6 realms of existence. Today, we, the Sangha of Nebraska Zen Center, have chanted the Shosai Myo Kichijo Dharani and the verses on the faith mind. We offer the merit of this practice to all beings of the world, so we may live in peace and harmony. With great joy, we accept the responsibility for the care of this piece of land. May all who dwell and walk here be free from suffering. May donors, receivers, and offerings all be free from self-clinging. May Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva watch over this world, illuminate it constantly, fully manifest compassion, and keep us eternally joyful, peaceful, and harmonious with all beings. May the hearts of all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and guardians protecting the Dharma purify this place and promote our practice of the Buddha way in peace. May the light of Buddha's awakening eternally illuminate all beings, and may we constantly live in the light of the ancestral teaching.
Throughout space and time, all honored ones, bodhisattvas, mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom, mahapajna.
Now we have a little time for our Dharma discussion. We have anything to discuss today, so we can gather about. We have online, Mike.
Doug and Cimarina.
I'm not sure who last name.
Anybody have a Dharma topic? Something burning in your mind this week?
Does anybody know the name of that bird that was singing during Zazen?
Probably cardinal.
It would do that.
Do it again.
Okay,
Okay, you can hear it right now.
that.
What do you mean that
I
one?
don't think that's a cardinal.
That's not cardinal. So.
Yeah.
Oh, I
There you
didn't
go.
hear it.
Okay.
I didn't know you were a birder, George.
Well, when you sit here, it's so no one used to call the sound of Zazen.
I didn't hear it myself. It was too deep.
But the secret is
In
not to
the mornings
identify
when
it.
I go
Oh,
out,
that's
it's
true.
just like.
Don't
a
name it.
cacophony. It's-
Yeah,
Yes,
oh,
don't
well,
even-
that's because you live in the country.
That's what,
That's because you live in the country.
oh, yes, yeah.
All right, let's get back on tack.
But we were one off the wrong time.
You were, yeah, I mean, they say the secret is you can hear the sound, but just don't name it. Don't try to figure out what that bird is.
Or what they're trying to say,
Hmm?
or what they're trying to say.
Or what they're trying to say.
Go away, I want to have sex. Go away. I wanna have sex.
Right.
I had a very sad bird story at my house, right? When you walk out the back door, there's kind of an evergreen. There's a little tiny nest there, like about this big, but it had a brown egg in it one day. And the next day when I went back, it had a little blue egg in it. And then one day when I went out, there was like this little tiny bird setting in it. and then the wind came up.
Oh.
And you could see her just sitting in it, but like hanging on for dear life. And the next day I went out, there was no
Nothing.
eggs left.
Nothing left.
So
That's my
I'm
sad story for the week.
Next up,
You're welcome.
it's off the Lord, sorry.
Well, I can, start off with my favorite line of this verse, which is, the great way is not difficult if you have no preferences, or the great way is not difficult, just avoid picking and choosing, as they say. And if I try to figure out any second of my life in which that's really not happening, it's pretty hard. I mean, I may actually learn over time to flow with things a little better, but to not be picking and choosing or not have an opinion about anything is
Impossible.
challenging, at least.
I don't think it means to not have an opinion, I think it means to not be attached to the opinion, and I'm incredibly attached to some of mine, not all of mine, but most of mine.
Yeah, yeah, I find that. I was complaining to my brother one time about, the difficulty of dealing with my father as he was getting older. And, could be extremely frustrating from time to time. And my brother said, well, it's no wonder you're both control freaks. It's like, oh, yeah, that is really true. So it's attachment to views.
And the reason you were probably the one in charge was because you were control, or you needed to be in control,
Yeah,
where your brother got off scot-free.
well,
Well, he just had to listen to you.
actually, no, the brother did his duty.
Okay.
He did his time. So I can't say that.
I can in my situation
In
with
your-
my sister,
Yeah.
yes.
So what do you do about your attachment to your opinions?
Well, I've been doing some work more recently with the political divide and looking at my knee-jerk responses to things. And I found that information that I can trust to let my guard down. And that has helped me really open up and start to see this polarized, fight and my very, very strong opinions on certain subjects. I'm able to relax a little bit. I'm able to breathe a little bit. I'm able to be even self-critical. And that has helped me at least become more open. And I've been working on that for probably the past couple of months. I think I'm ready to do something like that.
That's valuable.
Yeah.
That's very valuable.
Yeah, it's hard though, because you feel like, and part of it is the political machine. I know we're not supposed to be talking politics here in this institution, but the political machine is designed to wedge us. It's designed to make us, hold on. It's designed to make us cling to these values. And so to let go of it, you feel like you're betraying, your opinions or your values and things like that. And of course, that's by design.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so
I
let
mean,
go of that.
if you look at, posts online or on social media, they are designed for outrage.
Exactly.
So a lot of times people will post a headline,
Mhm.
that just promotes outrage.
Right.
And if you actually go in and look at the article, it's not like that at all. It's completely.
It's because the machinery of those, like social media and news, and to some extent, like it goes even deeper to like how your brain works, is that those things are rewarded in, like, especially Facebook and stuff. It's built to create that sense of outrage,
Algorithms.
and it rewards it regardless if it's true, which side it's on, doesn't matter. But the more outrage is better.
The more clicks and the more shares that it gets, yeah.
Right, and that's us.
So everything,
We're clicking.
everything we just said, I agree with everything said, right?
That's all discrimination. We're saying that is not a channel of information that I want to prefer, not a news, because I see it as biased. I'm not going to look at Facebook, I'm going to identify an outrage headline, and a headline is built for outrage. Every one of those acts is a discrimination, an act of discrimination,
Sure.
but the verse says no discrimination. That's challenging.
Mm,
It says not to.
It says not to, that's, I think, deeper in the, that there's, you can't discriminate. So there's something there.
right, and this is, yeah, I mean, this is the eternal problem, it just becomes worse in modern media, which is, you know, what about Hitler? You know, what about people that it's really hard to view them as not acting in a really bad way? You know, even if it's a faceless thing like Facebook or social media, you know,
Faceless Facebook. I like
faceless Facebook, very nice.
Our brain is built to discriminate.
But it is us. It all comes down to us. We're clicking.
Mhm.
And this verse asks us to go against our evolutionary biology.
Mm.
Well, it goes back to Deb's story about the birds. There's like a couple birds, I think cuckoos will toss out eggs of other bird
Mhm.
species and move in. And then
Okay.
wrens, which is probably what we're hearing,
I wonder,
wrens go around and peck holes in other birds' eggs
Something
so
to,
that they don't have as much competition for resources around them. So again, it comes back to us being the
Those
ones.
teeny tiny
those little
little
tiny
things
ones that-
picking on that big
Yeah.
blue jay.
Yep, they will, yeah, so it's us doing the discrimination and saying it's bad that, you know, some species do this, or it's bad that the wind came and knocked the egg out,
but it all works.
or it doesn't, I mean,
Yeah,
it doesn't
Just
it
necessarily
doesn't
matter.
work for
Yeah.
Just
them.
is.
It just
I
is.
think it
Yeah.
just is. Putin just is.
Mhm.
Trump just is. Fine.
I think a lot about that line from Shakespeare. This isn't an exact quote, but nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so.
Mhm.
And I love this line in what we read today.
Summarize the whole.
The burdensome practice of judging brings annoyance and weariness.
Yes.
Oh, that's my problem, right? And during the pandemic, I discovered these great AA meetings on Zoom where they really talk about how my disease is in my mind. You know, alcohol is just a thing. My alcoholism centers in my mind. And this one guy I love describes it as a self-talking, unsatisfiable, fault-finding, opinionated mind, which manifests as me being always in a hurry, easily frustrated, and I can't stand the word no. You know, and that is how I walk through the world. And it, you know, practicing Zazen enables me to have some distance between my opinions about what's happening and
Yeah,
what's happening. It frees me to react in a different way, but
and this, you know, brings up the, you know, eternal debate about active or engaged Buddhism, you know, about, you know, supporting a cause or, you know, taking some action that you think will make things better in the world. You know, is that discrimination? Is that, you know, how do you resolve those two things?
there are the precepts discrimination. That's what's a tough one.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I choose to follow this precept rather than the alternative behavior. That's discrimination on a preference. In that moment,
All values in terms of the way you live, are they all
but
discrimination?
in the moment of action, there is a decision point
Mm,
where one can act contrary to the precept, which is always so much more tempting and so much more fun.
Right.
Or one can act consistently with the precept, and in a moment there is preference. There must be preference.
mm,
Otherwise, there wouldn't be action.
right.
Yeah, that's why Katagiri Roshi, even though it said, the best time to sit zazen is when you absolutely don't want to sit zazen. Because it's like, if Zazen becomes a tool, something that you want to do, then it basically just becomes like everything else. So he said the ideal time to sit Zazen is either when you want to sit, when you don't want to sit Zazen, or if you want to sit Zazen, best time actually to sit Zazen is just when it's time to sit Zazen, because then that kind of frees you of that discrimination, you know. Because Zazen then becomes really what it is, and that is you can go to 10,000 directions, you know. It's
You don't want to, you don't not want to.
I see Zazen too as an action to take in the midst of all the horrors of Ukraine and everything that's going on in my life, all the family problems and people getting sick and dying, all the stuff. And it's really powerful to just sit Zazen in the middle of that, despite and because of it, and not even because of it.
In the flames.
Exactly.
But then you gotta take it off the mat, you gotta go back in the world,
Mhm.
and there's this constant discrimination.
Well, yeah, I find that, you know, sitting Zazen daily, when I take it back into life, it brings me a little closer to, who was it, Krishnamurti, who says, I don't mind what happens, you know, but it's difficult. It's difficult. It's just incremental, you know, it's just a little more, I don't know, letting go. Just a little more letting go.
But it's a much happier way to live.
Yeah.
Moment of moment, so let it go, let it go, let it go, not to.
Except when it's really, really hard to let it go.
And it's okay to grieve, to let things go. I've been doing a lot of letting go. I think you know that I had some deaths in my family, and I was going through tubs and tubs of photos, and like, here's a picture of a cat who I don't know, sitting on a couch that I don't recognize. Why am I saving this picture thrown away? But it feels like I'm throwing away my past, I'm throwing away my mother, I'm throwing away, you know, part of who we are, and you know, and it gets so emotional, but that's part of it. It doesn't mean let it go like, hey man, you know, let it go, it's all one man. It's not, you know, unfortunately like that. It's like, okay, I have to let this go, but to do this, I have to grieve.
Yeah.
And I have to cry, and I have to limit myself. And I have to say, okay, enough, put the tubs away. You're not gonna do any more today. You're gonna wait a couple of weeks till you kind of, you know, deal with this some more, and then you can pull the tub back out when you're in a different mood. And I think it's also important to be careful what we put in our minds. Nolan would caution us about what are we putting in our mind? Are we putting violence in our mind? What are we clicking on? Why are we clicking on that? You know, what benefit can be derived from clicking on this just to make yourself upset? I'm gonna watch these stupid, you know, fill in the blank, and what good is that? What good does that do? You're inviting poison into your mind. And so I'm trying to really watch what I'm putting in my mind. You know, that, you know, yes, cute puppies are fun, and for me, it's mostly cats, but you know, with everything with the Ukraine, do I have to click on every article? Do I have to click on every picture? Do I have to? It doesn't mean I'm avoiding the suffering. Sometimes I am, though, if I were to be honest. But do I need to flood myself with this and just become paralyzed by it? No, I don't have to.
Yeah, I agree that, you know, cleaning out after, you know, people die is a tremendously valuable exercise in letting go. And, you know, because everything has sentimental value, you know,
And you can't
it
get
seems
that.
like, yeah, even the stupidest things,
Yep.
you know, have sentimental value. But also I was down at the prison last week talking, we're going through the precepts, and we're talking about the first one, you know, do not kill, which, you know, everybody understands a certain way, but a lot of the ways that the precept is written have to do with just that idea of what are you filling your mind with. You know, how many violent shows are you watching? You know, are you watching Breaking Bad, you know, all the reruns over and over again, you know. And that's
in my queue, I haven't watched it.
That's an awfully specific example.
Well, it is. I had a funny experience with that because I never watched it, and the last season, everybody was talking about the last season of Breaking Bad. I thought, I should go see what this is about. So I watched, 3 or 4 weeks of it, and excellent production value, excellent acting, excellent writing. And after 4 times, I said, this is not good for me. It's just putting my mind in a bad place.
For me, if I can distinguish fantasy like Star Trek: The Next Generation, if you're blowing up a ship, that's not real,
Yeah.
because that's Star Trek, or The Blacklist, even though it's based on real, I love that, and it's clearly not realistic. So I can accept that and not do it. But other
It's like
things,
the cartoons,
Yeah.
Wile E. Coyote.
exactly. But other stuff is like, no, that's too real. I don't want to watch that. It bothers me.
Any other thoughts?
Although sometimes I think myself, I am so insulated from that world
Mhm.
that
From
like
being
I'm
here.
just living in this,
Oh.
everything's great. I listen to the birds sing and,
Well, not
Yeah.
everything is great. The little bird fell out of the nest.
well,
and,
yeah, but
eggs got
for the
rolled.
most part, and luckily for me, I just had free TV, so I couldn't watch Breaking Bad even if I wanted to.
In my experience, I for a long time, I just played video games, watched TV. I was trying to be as disconnected as I could, but suffering still found me. And it doesn't matter what the birds
Mhm.
Right.
suffering will find you. It's pervasive regardless of how much you attempt to ensconce yourself in Buddhism or fantasy, addiction, doesn't matter.
That's okay, it's just like.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Yeah, nature is, full of drama,
Mhm.
full of, drama. And, down to the tiniest, millimeter, up to the big animals. It's like, it's really true that, there's a lot of suffering if you view it that way.
And we're just nature with opposable thumbs.
Yeah.
Putin is just nature with an opposable thumb.
Mhm.
That's it.
You're right. And nuclear weapons.
Yeah, well, it's outgrowth of the opposable
Yeah.
thumb. What happened here?
Oh, it's amputated,
Remove it from his ass.
Well,
And
on that note.
I find it interesting, when you talk about suffering, when the bird flu pandemic a couple of months ago came out, and they find it in a flock, so they'd have to eliminate it to save the rest of the flocks all around. And someone would say, oh, isn't that just tragic that they had to, exterminate those 50,000 chickens. And my response was, I feel so bad about that. Well, do you feel bad about the millions that they exterminate at Costco every single week?
And the way
Nobody
they-
says
and the
a
way they-
word about how sad that is.
And the way they treat them, out to the
Before
children.
they even, for that month that they're alive, before they get to that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't move without harming something.
Yeah, when they turn off the air conditioning and boil it alive, but every time we go here, we then leave unanswered the main question, which is, well, then what is engagement?
Mhm.
Because
What is
the extent of you
discrimination?
say you're living out in it's lovely, because you can be
It is
disengaged, you
lovely.
don't even have to pay TV, it's fantastic. And, there's areas of my life where I can be completely disengaged, and I'm sure everybody has those spaces of mental health where you can be disengaged. But then you say, but I need to engage with the world in some way that creates virtue. We free all living beings, right?
Right,
You interpret that beautifully by saying, yeah, I'm freeing them from myself.
Mhm.
Right, but the question is there a virtuous engagement with the universe that is driven by the precepts? Or maybe there's not. Maybe that's what he worked out over the Bodhi tree.
And yet he went out and taught.
Yeah. Maybe because he said, well, it's what I do.
Well,
I talk.
according to legend, he said, there's no way this can be taught, and the gods came
Yeah.
down and said, teach, you must teach.
And so therefore there was no preference or discrimination on his part. He was
Right, it
under
was the
orders,
gods,
right?
it was the
But as we
gods.
in the modern world go to engage, attempt to engage virtuously with the universe, to say, right, can I lessen the suffering of one human being?
Mhm.
Right? Can I lessen the suffering of 100 times? Right? But then you must engage with that, with the animal. Because
Right.
the animal is the animal. The universe is an animal.
I mean, Buddhism is all about cause and effect. It's
Yeah.
all about cause and effect, you know. I mean, every time you have an action, it has an effect. And, you know, by our nature, we act. So it's simply, you know, acting in the way to cause the least harm. You know, when it comes to activism, you know, it's interesting.
because it depends on how you do the activism. So I'm a huge animal person. And, some of the, I could be involved in some political stuff and I tried that and I get too upset. And so instead, I drive injured animals from the Humane Society to a wildlife rescue once a week.
Mhm.
And so that's a way for me to engage, that I don't have to worry about being political, because I'm not really cut out for that. I don't have to worry about, someone said, what do you mean? Because some of these animals they've been shot, and that's of course upsetting to me, but many of them die. But if you can choose, I think, how to engage based on how you are and without putting that violence in your mind, as opposed to when I used to go door to door for wolf sanctuary and people would tell me that, all the wolves should be shot.
Mhm.
Can't do it. So I think you can be engaged. The question is, how are you engaged, and are you still attached to what you're trying to do? And knowing would caution me about this all the time. Don't be attached to the outcome. Like, how can I not be attached to the outcome? Of course I'm attached to the outcome. I'm doing it because I want to affect the outcome.
Mhm.
But don't be attached to the outcome. That was a huge lesson to me. Don't be attached to it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the pure precept, just do good.
Yeah, every effect is actually a cause of something else.
Mhm. Right, never ending.
Right.
Karma.
Right. Where do you draw the line?
Can there be activism without preference or discrimination?
Not really. I mean, how could it be? I guess, it goes into the state of your mind, I guess. And again, to attachment, yeah, like you said. Well, now we've solved that problem.
That one out of the way, yeah.
Couple announcements. We have an intro to Zen class this coming Saturday. The deadline for sign up is midnight tonight. So if you know any people who might be interested in coming to our intro to Zen class, direct them to the website or then sign up for it.
Does Annette plan to continue to teach those?
And Tara's going to be working with me on that.
Nice.
Yeah, Annette is still going to do her mindful self-compassion course,
Okay.
8 weeks this summer, and we should start seeing some communications about that pretty soon.
Nice.
The following weekend, we're having our first weekend with Daishin, which is Daishin McCabe of Zen Fields in Iowa. We've entered into an arrangement with him to serve as an interim priest.
So
for
he
us.
accepted.
Basically part-time. So he's gonna be coming in person one weekend a month. And so this weekend of the 18th is going to include on Friday a full moon ceremony, which we haven't done in years and years here, which is basically a ceremony to recommit to the precepts.
And I'm in the process of transcribing the Doshi part.
Yeah,
And, okay, and then I don't know if I need updated you on that or not. And then I'm gonna have to send him the recording, so he kind of knows what's up.
terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll set up a call with him.
That's
And then-
Friday the 18th.
That's Friday, it is
17th.
Friday,
7th.
Friday the 17th.
I got it.
Yeah, that's right. Saturday is the 18th, and we're gonna have Zazen Kai, which is a shortened version of Sesshin, from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m.
What time is the ceremony on the 17th?
You know, I haven't set a time with him. I'm assuming it'll be sometime Friday evening, or late afternoon, so we'll announce that. So yeah, the participation in that would be greatly encouraged. And then Sunday he'll provide a Dharma talk at Service Voice.
And if you haven't attended it, that's one of my favorite ceremonies. It's absolutely beautiful to me.
The full moon, yeah.
And you feel great afterwards when you do it. I don't know if it's all the bowing or precepts or you're just high on incense or something.
Yeah, smoke, all the smoke.
Yeah.
I'm trying to have as much smoke as
Full
known to
oxygen.
do. Okay.
Well,
That's
coming
all
from a
announcement.
Catholic background, there is no such thing as too much.
Thank you, Edward.
Thank you.
Thank you online. Oh, also we have a work practice period after short tea and coffee.
Or it's like-